Hello and welcome, my beautiful Phoenixes. Welcome to Phoenix Over 40. My name is Noi, and in today's training is the first of several in my Moving from Chaos to Curiosity series. Today's topic is the blueprint for becoming your bravest self. In this training, I will be discussing the nature of chaos, how to combat chaos, and sharing with you the 3 tools I use to reshape my body, refocus my mind, and become my bravest self after a lifetime of chaos tried to take me out. Now, there are 2 ways to join me live today. You can join me live by Zoom. The link is in the event description, or live by Facebook. And I'm going to just refresh my Facebook feed right now to make sure everything is streaming okay. I've got my phone over here. Let's make sure that everything is streaming okay. Let me make sure that this is on too. All right. Okay, making sure that everything is streaming for our live right now. It looks like it is. If you can hear and see me, I would invite you to give me a thumbs up or an emoji as you can do that, so that I know that everything is working and it is all going between Zoom and Facebook at the same time. So welcome, those of you that are joining. Hi, welcome. Hi, Lori. Good to see you. Can you hear me okay? Can you type into the chat whether or not you can hear me okay? I just want to make sure that everything is working. The chat feature is there at the bottom of the Zoom. All right. As people are filtering in, I just want to welcome everybody. Welcome to Phoenix Over 40. Again, my name is Noi, and this is going to be the first of a few different trainings in my Moving from Chaos to Curiosity series. So today's topic is the blueprint for becoming your bravest self. And so in this training, I'll be discussing the nature of chaos, how to combat chaos, and share with you the 3 tools I use to reshape my body, refocus my mind, and become my bravest self after a lifetime of chaos tried to take me out. So good. Okay, yeah, it took a little bit for some people to get in. Okay, thanks for letting me know on that. Always good to get that feedback. You know, again, you can join me live by Facebook, or you can join me by the link that's in the event description that will take you to the Zoom. And it looks like it is streaming to Facebook. Understand, though, that the Facebook Live will be about a 20-second delay. So if you are putting answers to questions or engaging with me in that way, that it will be a 20-second delay. So if I don't answer it right away, that's why. Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you. As everyone is entering, I invite you to drop into the comments where you're joining from. I love to see where all of my amazing Phoenix women are in the world. So drop into the chat section the location of where you're joining me from. I am coming at you from beautiful Hawaii. It is 9 a.m. my time, and this is the same time each week that I will be holding these live trainings. Phoenix, welcome Phoenix. I'll be holding these live trainings at this time right here in the group. So I invite you to add a reminder to your calendar, because in each of the Moving from Chaos to Curiosity series, I will be sharing some of my most useful resources for combating chaos and getting into more depth about specific battles and resources that I used. Now, what do I want from you? As a former teacher and youth minister, I love engagement. So there's nothing worse than giving a speech or a sermon to a bunch of people that are falling asleep in their seats. So I really encourage you to engage with me via Zoom and the Facebook chat area so that the energy can flow and we can really get that heat going for both you and me, okay? And even if you're joining via the replay, even if you're watching this on the replay, engage and answer my questions as I pose them in the comment section. Not only will I be able to see your comments because Facebook will notify me, but it actually helps your brain remember chunks of the content because it moves the energy from the receiving areas of your brain to the giving areas of your brain, thus increasing the chances that you will retain the information and embed itself into your subconscious. Hacking change science is my specialty. And you will hear me give so many more brain hacks in all of my trainings and the content in the group because it's my passion. So first, let me share a little more about myself. Well, I grew up here in Hawaii. My full name is Christine Elise Kanoilenio Ko'olau Oliver. Kind of a mouthful, I know. As you can see why I go by Noi. Noi is a portion of my Hawaiian name. And I grew up here and lived here all of my life until the day after I graduated high school and moved to the mainland for college. It was there that I married a Wyoming boy, and I lived there for 20 years, was married to a minister in the Methodist Church. Because he was in the Methodist Church, we were moved around a lot, so I have a wide variety of work history. And I'm gonna actually stop sharing my screen for a moment so you can see my face. How's that? I have a wide variety of work history, and I've worked in so many numerous fields, everything from the financial industry to the construction industry to real estate to, I mean, everything that you can think of, education. I was a teacher for a little bit, and I did a lot of program management, and because I had to be a jack of all trades because we were moving around a lot, and I had to also be useful to my husband's ministry. I have a lot of different experience. And matter of fact, you can find a lot of my work experience on my website if you're interested. It is phoenixover40.com, and there is an About Me page where I talk about my experience, my professional certifications. I have my PMP. We have my PMP and a bachelor's in organizational management. I have both the health and life coaching certifications and several different certifications to just help be more useful to the world. And, you know, I spent so much time being useful to the world, and now I get to be useful to myself, which is kind of exciting. So after my divorce, about 5 years ago, I moved back to Hawaii to begin rebuilding myself in the land that feeds me. And now I am my bravest self, at least this version of her. And actually, I just returned back from a month-long excursion to beautiful Norway and Iceland and Sweden. And I wanted to share my little troll guy. These trolls are good luck, and they represent the metaphysical little beings that help us to navigate problems in our world. And so I thought it fitting that he join us here today. So I'm going to stick him right here so that you can watch as we continue on. Welcome, welcome. All right. So I am going to now share my screen because I do have some slides and some notes. I want to stay on task. I do have struggle with that sometimes. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and I've got some slides to share with you. So again, this training is the blueprint for becoming your bravest self. And the very first thing that we are going to talk about is chaos. You know, what do I mean when I'm talking about chaos? Well, chaos is the result of something being out of balance. You know, the word chaos is actually a Greek word, and it describes a chasm or a void. Matter of fact, it's the same word used in the Bible in Genesis 1, where it talks about how the world was a formless void and the Spirit of the Lord hovered over the waters. Basically, it means a world without chaos or without order, because God came in and created order, right? And in the Chinese understanding of the yin and the yang, all of reality is a balance of opposing forces. And if any of those opposing forces are off, then you're imbalanced, and that creates chaos. And the example that I'd like to offer you is the example of making a recipe, of doing a recipe. What happens when you forget a key ingredient, right? Say we forget yeast when we're trying to bake bread. What happens to the recipe? That's right. Well, the bread doesn't rise, right? The bread doesn't rise. And say we forget sugar in our cookies. They aren't going to taste very good. They aren't going to taste like what we expected, are they? or maybe we forget oil in our brownies. I've actually done this one. What happens when you forget oil in your brownies? It becomes really crumbly. The result is contrary to our expectation of what's going to happen. And this is the root of suffering. Now, how does chaos show up in our lives? Chaos shows up in our lives in numerous ways. You know, we've got chaos in our mind, chaos in our relationships, chaos in our body, chaos in our spirit or our energetic forces, and chaos in our calling. Now, sometimes our job is our calling, but sometimes our calling is something else that just we're passionate about. It means that our purpose for being, our calling. So I invite you to drop into the comments and let me know, what are some examples of chaos? Say chaos in your mind. What are some examples of chaos in your mind? You know, it might be things like stress, anxiety, depression, forgetfulness, overwhelm, distraction, mood swings. Sure. You know, and I invite you to drop a 1 into the chat section if you are currently experiencing chaos in your mind. Drop a number 1. Okay, now let's go to relationships. What are some examples of chaos in your relationships? You know, fighting, cheating, sexual dysfunction, absolutely. Divorce, separation, any of those things. That's right, jealousy. All of those things are examples of chaos in our relationships. And if you're experiencing chaos in your relationship at this point in your life, go ahead and drop a number 2 into the chat area. Next, the body. How do we experience chaos in our body? We've got hormone imbalances. We've got insomnia, hair loss, weight fluctuations, maybe some illnesses, cancer. You know, those are all ways that chaos shows up in our body. And if you're experiencing chaos in your body at this stage in your life, I invite you to drop a 3 into the chat section. Now, how about your spirit? This is your energetic health. This is the metaphysical part of us. None of us can deny that there's a metaphysical element to the world. If your spirit is off, what are some of the signs of chaos there? Also anxiety, that's right. Maybe sexual dysfunction could be. I suggest promiscuity or the understanding that you are, lessening yourself or putting your body into harmful situations that are less than what you deserve. Maybe self-harm, hedonism, cravings. I suggest that cravings can be also a symptom of chaos in our spirit. Matter of fact, if you're interested and you are a believer, the Bible has a great section on Galatians 5, verse 19, where it lists a bunch of things that describe what chaos in your energy is like, chaos in your spirit. And I invite you to drop a 4 into the chat box if you experience chaos in your spirit. Next is your calling. This is your reason and your purpose for life. Some of the symptoms of chaos there might be dissatisfaction, feeling of just like something's wrong, or you're just dissatisfied with life, or you're distracted a lot. You have trouble focusing. I even invite the idea that maybe ADHD could be just chaos in your calling, maybe not doing something that you want to be doing. And if you're experiencing chaos in your career or your calling, I invite you to drop a 5 into the chat box. All right, I know we can think about all of these examples of chaos, and it's easy to get overwhelmed by the chaos itself and feel like chaos is the enemy. But when it comes to brain science, viewing chaos as negative actually distracts us from the root cause and ends up perpetuating more chaos. I invite you today to reconsider rewriting your idea on chaos. What if chaos is a clue? I'd like to share one of my many ways that chaos has showed up in my life in 2020. When I was finally diagnosed with breast cancer in 2020, it was a confirmation that the signs and the symptoms of chaos that I had been experiencing for the previous 5 years were my body's indicator that something was wrong. It was as though my body sensed that enemy cells were invading my breasts, so it shut off my estrogen and progesterone levels. the two hormones that were feeding it. I began experiencing hot flashes, irregular periods, brain fog, and extreme anxiety. My weight and cravings were out of control, and I developed unexplainable pain in my joints. These are all symptoms of a hormone imbalance. But instead of following the clues and asking my body why my hormones had suddenly started revolting, I turned to Western medicine for answers. Labs, X-rays, MRIs, ultrasound, none of it could explain why my body at the age of 37 suddenly decided to go into full-blown menopause. The ultrasound confirmed there were still eggs in the basket. It simply didn't make sense that my FSH levels, or the follicle stimulating hormone, which are supposed to be under a 12 for women my age, were in the 60s. The true nature of chaos is that it's not a curse. Chaos is a clue. It's a symptom. It's an indicator that something is out of balance. It's not the problem itself, like Western medicine often approaches. It's not the problem itself. It's a clue that there is a problem, like smoke before a fire. In order to treat a smoke problem, we need to investigate the source and treat the fire that's causing the smoke, right? We could just set up a fan and blow away the smoke, thus solving the smoke problem, but the fire still exists. But here's the catch. When it comes to brain science, something that we find is that we want to play one game, but our brain created an entirely other game and failed to tell us the rules. 95% of our day-to-day programs or habits are run in our subconscious mind, and 80% of those programs were created before we were even the age of 6. Can you remember what the world was like when you were 6? Not consciously, you probably can't, but I can guarantee that little girl has way more of a say in how the game is played than you know. So let me ask you a question. Say you look outside and it's raining, and you're really, really upset about it because the weatherman said that it wasn't supposed to rain and you had planned a picnic. Which one is causing you to suffer? The fact that it's raining or the belief that it shouldn't be raining? Which one is actually the source of your chaos? Good question, right? Not a trick question. You see, our belief systems create our feelings and our emotions, which create our actions, which create the results and help to reinforce the beliefs. That's right. So here is an example from my own life. I used to work at a brokerage firm. I worked for many financial advisors. I was their administrative assistant and I helped with financial planning. Well, I believed one of my advisors really didn't respect me. He was kind of a misogynistic kind of a guy, and he just didn't treat women very well. And I believed that he didn't respect me. Well, this one day, he brought in a box of bagels into the office, and I began to see the chaos inside of me began to just boil over. He knew that I was detoxing from carbohydrates. I'd been telling everyone that I had just joined the ideal protein diet and that bagels were definitely not on the menu. I had been a good girl all that week, made my meals, followed the plan, been able to successfully avoid all negative habits for 5 straight days. But those bagels, as amazing as they smelled, definitely were not a temptation that I needed right then. And I was positive that he knew it. But there they were in the kitchen, smelling like baked bread. You know the smell. And nobody else in the office was eating them for whatever reason. And as the hours passed, I literally felt like those bagels were screaming at me in my brain. I couldn't concentrate on anything but those bagels. The rest of the day was a bit of a fog, but by the end of the day, when the smoke cleared, I had eaten 5 of them. You heard me, 5 of them. Why? Well, let's get curious about this, shall we? One possibility could be the belief system that I held that he was out to get me. I believed he was out to get me and that he had done it on purpose to make me sick. Well, as a stubborn Taurus, that rebellious inner child syndrome that says, I'll show you, big meanie, might have rose up inside me just to spite him and eat the very things that he knew I shouldn't, ultimately proving to myself that his goal was to make me sick. Now that's one emotional possible root cause. What about a physical root cause? Could it be the physical effect of the stress because his behavior felt like a direct slap in the face to me? And it triggered a flood of cortisol through my body, causing me to, direct resources away from digestion and metabolism. This is what happens in your body when you're flooding your system with cortisol, both of which were already compromised by the fact that I was transitioning to ketosis with a very, very difficult diet, which caused me then to forget to eat my breakfast, causing my blood sugar to dip significantly low so that the time lunch came around, my body was screaming for food and the hangry mega beast in my microbiome had literally taken control. Or another possible root cause, could it be that my teenage fear of gaining weight and becoming unlovable took over my brain? Years of failed diets had surely reinforced the idea that I am a diet shit show. So what if that fear heightened my awareness of the bagel's existence to the point where my focus and my energy pulled me naturally toward the bagels, proving to myself yet again that I can't trust myself and confirming yet again how much I really don't love myself. Unfortunately, in that instance, I will never know what my body was actually trying to tell me because I didn't take the time to interrupt the program and get curious. The truth about change, science. Oh, I gotta share it. We got the truth about change science is that curiosity is the key for combating chaos. Subconscious programs are run from our middle brain, and curiosity brings the focus back into our prefrontal cortex, the area of reason. Curiosity is a sense of being that allows us to compassionately expose and analyze our programs, and then implement specific strategies to rewire the habit. This is the science of change, and this is what habit change coaching is actually all about. When my life was stuck in a cycle of chaos, it was actually pouring into all facets of my life. My marriage was a wreck. I had very few friends that I could be open and honest with my struggles because of my husband's position in the church. I kept having to stop and restart careers because the Methodist Church kept moving us around. And when he would make destructive coping choices due to his own struggles with anxiety, I felt like I had to protect my children and our image and the congregation from his consequences. Like a perfect little chaos junkie codependent, I was so busy running everyone else's life that chronic stress was eating me alive. So by the time my body tried to get my attention with the cancer and shut off my hormones, it was just par for the course. I had already dug a chasm between my brain and my body that resulted in numerous stress-related illnesses, such as hypertension, Barrett's esophagus, sleep disorders, generalized anxiety disorder, fibromyalgia, and now suddenly menopause. Eventually, my marriage and my ministry both fell apart. Nobody can run that pace for a long time like I did. But I'll tell you what, the Bible verse, God makes all things work together for good for those who are called according to his purposes, never became more true for me than in the midst of that fire. That chaos ended up becoming my biggest blessing and moved me into a new type of ministry that now offers healing and wholeness to other women. God, it's kind of funny like that. You see, without the distraction of running everyone else's life for them, I was forced to turn inward and discover truths hidden deep inside me. And as my energy shifted, powerful women stepped forward to guide me along my journey. Step by step, I was able to rebuild myself stronger than before and discovered the blueprint for becoming my bravest self. I was able to reshape my body after, and finally lose the extra weight that I've been literally fighting for decades. I rebalanced my hormones naturally without hormone replacement, reignited my metabolism after years of abuse, and even repair my gut health after the 6 courses of antibiotics during my surgeries nearly took it out. I focused on the physical first because it was the low-hanging fruit at the time. But while I focused on the physical, I was able to rewire my brain and repair my overly excited nervous system, which allowed me to regain control of my emotions and reconnect to my inner wisdom, which then allowed me to even evolve my relationship with my ex-husband, who now, without my nagging, actually got the help that he needed. And now we have a mutually beneficial co-parenting partnership and friendship. Today, I'm more confident, balanced, and joyful than I ever thought I could be. And most recently, I made the jump from 25 years as an employee to becoming my own boss, taking back my freedom over my time and my money. And all because of 3 simple truths, 3 key elements that make up the backbone of change science. Being the fiery wahine that I am, the way I like to remember these 3 elements is with the metaphor of fire. Who knows what 3 things make fire? Any guesses? What do you believe are the 3 things that make fire? 3 elements make all fire. All right. 3 elements make fire, and those elements are heat, fuel, and oxygen. Those 3 things make fire, and the Phoenix fire also requires 3 things. First of all is the heat. It takes a spark. It takes a flame. That means a clear-cut vision and a choice to set it in motion. You can only accomplish change when the pain of change is less than the pain of staying the same. This is why chaos shows up, and this is how chaos is your biggest lesson. It creates pain. And curiosity becomes your biggest asset at that point, because curiosity is the key toward clarifying your vision. Ask yourself, what do you really want? What will you have when you get it? And who else will benefit from you getting what you want? Your vision has to be so tangible, so clear, so compelling that it pulls you toward it like a moth to a flame. The next element is fuel. This is the wood that we put on the fire, the things that we're setting on fire, whether that be kindling, tinder, or the fuel. And for us, that's the plan. Benjamin Franklin said, if we fail to plan, we plan to fail. Success depends on a comprehensive plan that includes milestones, risk mitigation, resource management, and specific action steps. Can you hear the project manager coming out in me now? It puts the right steps in the right order, and it creates an environment of inevitable success. It changes your environment, or invites you to change your environment so that accomplishing the goals is easy and effortless. Remember, where focus goes, energy flows. That's important to remember. The last element is oxygen. And in the Phoenix fire, that is support. Oh, I gotta go this way. There we go. That is support and accountability. This is the emotional encouragement, physical resources, knowledge, and skill development that keeps the fire going strong and can only come from sources that exist outside yourself. You see, our brains are wired to keep us from change, and it is running the show from the shadows. Success depends on an objective source of truth, someone outside of yourself who can see the path clearly and provide the ideas when you get stuck, and then compassionately hold you accountable to your ultimate vision. The American Society of Training and Development did a study on accountability and found that 65% of people have all people have a 65% chance of completing a goal on their own, but a 95% chance if they have to do regular check-ins with an accountability partner. I've had my ups and downs over the last 5 years. I've tried and failed to implement several different changes, and I am by no means perfect today. I continue to be a work in progress, but I know The times when I had an accountability partner were the times when I was most successful because she could see the red flags that I couldn't. She could offer advice on solutions that I didn't even know existed, and she called me on my shit when I started to self-sabotage. These are the things that you need to be successful. Right here, a vision, a plan, and support and accountability. I became a coach because I recognized that the difference between small change and big change in my life were the women that came into my life to mentor me. A coach is someone with the unique skills and experience to help you clearly define your goals, strategize a solid plan, and provide the support and accountability to successfully navigate the science of change. I brought myself out of chaos using this strategy, and I continue to have coaches and mentors in my life now to ensure I keep moving forward with every iteration of my bravest self. And the most magical part about all of it, after I accomplished every goal, a new vision emerged and presented me with a new opportunity, an opportunity to go even further. And every time I do, it gets easier and easier. So Phoenixes, are you prepared to become your bravest self? Remember, what you need are those elements of the Phoenix fire: the vision, the plan, and the support and accountability. That's it. That's all you need to become your bravest self. I give you these things, but I also make one additional offer. If you would like my help to become your bravest self and would like the professional help of a health and life coach that maybe has been on a path that resonates with you, I can help you clarify your vision. I can help you create a strategic plan, and I can provide you support and accountability for success. The next step is to just comment brave below this video. And even if you're watching the replay, I will personally reach out to you via Messenger with some questions. And if I believe that I can help you, then we'll jump on a free strategy call to map out your game plan together. Perfectly free, nothing to lose, and your bravest self to gain. All right. So this concludes our live training, and I'm curious, what about this training today is resonating most for you? Feel free to share any insights, ahas, or appreciations from what I've shared today and what's been most helpful for you and your vision for yourself in the chat section, which actually I'm going to tell you is another brain science trick because it reinforces the idea and deposits it into long-term memory. You're welcome. Thank you for joining me. As always, Noi rhymes with joy, and I hope that I brought a little more of that into your day. Bye-bye.